Hi guys, my name is Hither Mann. Hope you're having an amazing day. I'm going to talk about a very tricky subject, which is how do you deal with a trading loss or trading losses.
Slide this way if you're trying to see results. Active, get active, they can't.
Now, those people who don't know who I am, my name is Hither Mann, and I am the founder and CEO of Fortune Academy, which is a wealth education company. I teach financial trading myself. We have a crypto trader. We have e-commerce, which is how to make online businesses, plus many other things. And my forte is also in the wealth mindset. Now, this is why my students are so good at dealing with losses, because one thing that people don't talk about enough is, well, what do you do when you lose? Okay, trading psychology has been discussed in various books, in various different, programs that I've seen, but really it doesn't get to the core of how are you going to deal with this loss. Now, any professional trader will know that you are going to lose more times than you actually win, which is very depressing for someone who's very amateur and coming straight with a retail mindset of like, yeah, I just want to be really rich, really quick. You can't. There is no get rich quick in Forex. All my students know that. How you have to trade financial markets is quite simply, you have to have a risk management strategy, which means you deal with the worst case scenario first before you even take a trade. I started my journey in 2008. I did all the wrong things. I learned from free stuff online, which is rubbish. And then eventually I lost enough money to realize that maybe I don't know what I'm doing, or maybe the stuff online isn't really good enough. So I went into the city, paid a lot of money to a trader who traded my funds, and he taught me in the end how to trade. It didn't happen overnight. It took 3 years at least to get his full attention on how to learn to trade. And eventually I actually ended up being a solid trader. So in the meantime, when I teach my students this, now why do I even teach people? Well, quite frankly, my philosophy is that no one should have money as an issue in their life. So I'm very, very geared to making sure people get wealthy and are happy with it, because I grew up in a family where money was an issue, and therefore my philosophy was very simple. Let's not have money be a problem going forward. So I love to empower people. It's the most exciting thing. But one of the biggest challenges when it comes to financial trading and how to make someone a good trader is, how do they deal with their losses? There's one thing that will actually define a good trader: how they deal with their losses. Because a professional trader will know you are going to lose more times than not. Therefore, how you deal with that is, number one, you need to have solid risk management. Now, risk management isn't just a stop loss and a take profit. That is very amateur on its own. Yes, you need that, but if you put the same stop loss and the same take profit in every trade for every currency pair, you're very amateur, because every currency pair acts differently, and you have to go with the currency pair volatility as a measure for your stop loss and take profit. I teach my students that on a very strong level. Anyhow, the next thing you've got to ask yourself is something called the rolling risk management system, which I teach on my online program. That you can learn from me through Fortune Academy. Make sure you look at the links on this video where they're either released, or if it's not released, then get on the waiting list where you can actually see when my education is going to be online, because it's going to be incredible. The rolling risk management is something that I have created together with my trader, and in fact, I put the finishing touches to it. I've made it more robust than anything I've seen in the industry, because really what happens is you have a risk management portfolio and you decide whether it's going to happen over a 3-month period or a 6-month period or even a 12-month period. So you decide, am I risking 20%, 40%, 50%, 100% of my portfolio? You have to decide that first. And over what monthly period? Am I going to do this over a 3-month period, or am I going to do it over a 6-month period? And then you do the breakdown for each risk allocation for the month, and then for the days, and etc. So anyhow, that's all in the rolling risk management module. So make sure that you are learning that if you want to learn proper risk management. So how you deal with your losses is having solid risk management, because without that, you are always going to be second guessing, like, oh shit, how much am I going to lose on this trade? Whereas if you've got solid risk management, you should know 95% to the 95% accuracy what you are potentially going to lose if that trade goes wrong. And you wouldn't take that trade unless you actually had that discussion in your head first. So do you see how important that is? It's really important to get your risk management right. Now, secondly, that was just talking about like the actual figures behind risk management. But of course, you cannot, that's just trading errors. Make a very strong note that regardless, you cannot predict a 2015 Swiss franc debacle. That is something nobody foresaw. And therefore those type of things is not a trading error. That's the market crazy volatility. So that is discounting all of that. But at least as a trader, you've got control over your risk management if you do it through the rolling risk management system, which I have taught. Next, the best thing about dealing with a loss is that it's going to teach you a very big lesson about you, i.e. how are you taking this, personally or not. Now, the reality is a very good trader has the same neuroscience, the neurology behind a trader that is really not emotionally attached to trades and does not get offended by trading has the same neurology, and you're going to hate me for saying this, as a psychopath, i.e. someone who's a serial killer or a mass, whatever. But can you see this? Do you see the link? The link is quite simply that a psychopath is someone who cannot see emotion, has no empathy. And you've got to have that kind of relationship. Please don't become a real psychopath. But with trading, you've got to be zero empathy when it comes to wins and losses. You can't get excited when you get wins because it doesn't, for a fact that trading is all about wins and losses. So when you get to that point in your life that wins and losses become pretty much, you're numb to it, but you are excited about the process and you're excited about the overall, you love the markets because of what it does. It's just like pure magic when you see things over a 12-month period and you're up 35% or 40% or whatever you are, depending on your risk profile, etc., and your strategy. That is the magic you should fall in love with, not the individual trades. You may have a good day, you may have a bad day, but that in the macro picture isn't relevant. You need to think big picture. So that's a way of understanding wins and losses. Now, an amateur, on the other hand, will think of a win as like, yes, I am like king of the castle, or I'm like the dog's bollocks at trading. You're not. And if you do think that, then you're very amateur. And when you lose, you start thinking, oh my God, I'm a failure. And you start getting really like anxious about yourself, and your self-doubt kicks in, and you take it to the level of ego. Now that's a very dangerous place to go, because then you actually are defining your trading as a reflection of you as an individual. If you are a good trader, that means you are a good person. If you're losing a trade, that means you're a failure. Now that's dangerous because you've attached the outcome of trading to your ego. Now, so the next lesson I would have to say to you is in level 2. So there's 2 things really. Number 1 is rolling risk management. Get that really, really good. And number 2 is understand yourself and deal with yourself at the level of at the ego. So the quickest way for that is get some coaching. Get some coaching from a proper wealth coach or someone who can make you revisit your relationship with money. Now I do this so strongly with my students. We go through all your childhood recollection of wealth, success, and everything related to money. If there is a slight inkling of you as a kid being taught that rich people are crooks or money and happiness don't go together, then there is going to be a sabotage in you on your subconscious level that is going to make you not want to be rich. So actually that will affect your trades anyway. So when you take a loss, you will believe that sabotage pattern, and then you will start subconsciously reenacting that. So it's a really weird thing, but your subconscious will have an effect on your trading. Next, your financial thermostat, who you are around, what your surroundings are like, what your lifestyle is like, all the filters in your life. Are they strong enough to make you a wealthy person, or are you just playing at a very poor level? All of this matters. Now I can go on and on and on about this. You're gonna have to look at relationships in your life. You're gonna have to look at relationships as yourself. So this is like full on coaching on you. This is you looking at your life. Trading is the best thing I ever did because it taught me so much about me. Taught me about my ego. Taught me about my relationship and my philosophy in life. It is actually a very spiritual journey, believe it or not. So you need to really progress on that path to get over this madness in trading. When you've worked on yourself enough, dealing with losses becomes very micro in the bigger picture. So it becomes the micro details, and the macro becomes life, and you have a better philosophy for life. So in a nutshell, it is a lot of coaching on you. So make sure you read self-development books. Something I could teach you straight away would be Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. It's a really good book. I would suggest you read that because it will teach you a lot about you. There is so much work that I can potentially do with you if you come to one of my wealth mindset retreats. I do this in Sicily, for example, and it's probably the most powerful program because I know that sets the foundations for someone who is going to be wealthy. Without those foundations, without the roots in the tree, effectively, of wealth, you know, people look at wealth as in like the cars, houses, the fancy stuff that you've got, when reality is you don't have any of those. They call the fruits of the tree, but the tree will not exist unless it's got really strong roots. So let's build those roots, and that's what I want you to work on yourself. Do it yourself if you can. It's a long process. It doesn't take it's not overnight, but if you want to learn very effectively from a coach, from an outsider who can really fast track that whole process, because an outsider can see your flaws a lot easier than you. That's a fact. I've had a wealth coach since 2004. 2004 onwards, I've always had mentors. I've always had people that were way richer than me, way more successful, way more accomplished than me in life, that could then pinpoint the problems in my outlook in life. And it was probably it is the most valuable thing I've ever had. So I constantly change my coaches to get to the higher level because you will outgrow them. So my offer to you is, if you need someone to turn to, come to me. I will teach you. Come to one of my events in London, links on the description below. Come to one of my retreats that I do in Europe, and I will talk to you and shape your life to a level where you will have the foundations and you will always be able to be wealthy and sustain that. So trading losses and dealing with trading as a whole is going to be one of your most eventful journeys. Please don't be hard on yourselves, guys and girls, because this is not easy. I just want you to understand that this is a lifetime journey. Anything you touch after trading financial markets is going to be easier than Forex. So give yourselves a pat on the back if you've got this far. Please don't give up, because this is where the 95% statistic has come. Most people give up because they just go crazy. The default method is that you will say to yourself that I don't like to lose, therefore you will go back and chase your loss, you will go and overtrade, etc. And you'll end up just losing and blowing your account and saying that Forex doesn't work. So that is why this industry is the toughest one there is out there. I don't want you to fall into that trap. Become that 5%. It's not easy. There's a reason why it's only 5%. But if you're willing to take the challenge, I'm there to help you. So contact me on social media. The links are below. So the links are coming up. Follow me on YouTube. Subscribe to this channel. I'll have plenty more content coming up. And don't forget, my online education is also available. Make sure you subscribe to that. All the links and details are below. So see you soon. Bye.
Slide this way if you're trying to see results. Active, get active, they can't match this. I got ambition, I'm driven. Hither, man, got the vision. Stay woke. If you're trying to win, you should listen. If you're trying to win, you should listen. Stay woke. If you're trying to win, you should listen. If you're trying to win, you should listen. Stay woke.